All right, the news continues pouring in. Things have simmered down a little bit from the insurrectionist, riotous coup attempt by Trump supporters that took place on Wednesday. But a lot of crazy is really going on. I told you yesterday that Facebook and Twitter had temporarily suspended Donald Trump for posting election disinformation and incitements to violence. We have now heard from Mark Zuckerberg. Facebook will be blocking Donald Trump on all its platforms, which includes Instagram, at least until the end of his presidency. Mark Zuckerberg made a post about this yesterday. And, I don't really care about Zuckerberg in terms of evaluating his morality and his personal politics. I know that there's reason to be very upset as to how Facebook has sort of looked the other way with a lot of the completely ridiculous ways that the Trump campaign and the right have used Facebook to spread disinformation and so on. This statement from Mark Zuckerberg is what it is. And Zuckerberg wrote, "The shocking events of the last 24 hours clearly demonstrate that President Donald Trump intends to use his remaining time in office to undermine the peaceful and lawful transition of power to his elected successor, Joe Biden." And he goes on to say, "We believe the risks of allowing the president to continue to use our service during this period are simply too great. Therefore, we are extending the block we have placed on his Facebook and Instagram accounts indefinitely and for at least the next 2 weeks until the peaceful transition of power is complete." So an indefinite ban on Facebook and Instagram for Donald Trump. And it's all just, the struggle with these incidents is that on the one hand, all of this stuff should have happened long ago. Trump's cabinet should have considered the 25th Amendment long ago. Trump's cabinet should have resigned long ago. Republicans should have abandoned Trump long ago. Pence should have distanced from Trump long ago. On Twitter and Facebook, all this stuff. But at this late stage, it's sort of like, come on, guys. It almost feels like a virtue signal in some sense to me, in order to try to rehabilitate one's image, and one could be a person or a company, when it's too little too late, when Trump is now already weakened and humiliated with just, 12 days left until the inauguration. So while these are obviously the correct decisions, it's hard to really feel like, wow, it's so great. Everybody's now figuring it out. We figured it out before Trump was even inaugurated, and some of us were called alarmists. And of course, every one of our worst fears came true. So we'll continue to follow this. I believe it's quite plausible Trump will be permanently banned from Twitter as well after he leaves office. But it's really anyone's guess at this point. And one of the things I think it's important to remember, I mentioned this yesterday, let's not allow the retroactive rehabilitation of the image of a lot of these people that were along for the ride 99.9% of Trump's term and now are bailing. Absolutely massive conflict within Trump's cabinet. On Wednesday, as the violent insurrection was breaching the Capitol, Donald Trump denounced Mike Pence and said Pence didn't do it. Pence didn't do it. He didn't steal the election for me. And that tweet was ultimately taken down by Twitter. And it was one of the tweets that led to Donald Trump's suspension on Twitter. Regardless of your workout, nutrition, and diet goals, it is crucial to have the right amount of protein in your diet. And if you're supplementing with protein powders, you should be sure you have the powder that is right for you. And that's where our sponsor Gainful comes in. Gainful offers customized protein based on your body type, diet, fitness habits, and goals. Their formulas are optimized for you with simple and effective ingredients, no fillers, gluten, soy, or anything artificial. And Gainful also gives you free, unlimited one-on-one access to your own registered dietitian, which is a great bonus you won't find anywhere else. And my favorite part is that Gainful protein is never repetitive or boring because they will rotate the flavors you choose, like rich chocolate, cookies and cream, chocolate peanut butter, strawberry cream, cafe mocha. I took their quiz and they gave me protein tailored to my specific needs. Everything was quick and easy. I've been loving what they sent me. You'll get $15 off your first month when you go to gainful.com/Pakman. The link is underneath this video.